What you doing, buddy? Oh, only 12%. Hey everybody, how are you doing? I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope everyone can hear me okay. I switched to my stream a little too soon there before I had everything lined up, but anyways, so if any of you have my meager viewing base, if any of you are or have been following things online, at least about uh, Vampire the Masquerade and World of Darkness, there's this huge hullabaloo about how it's not, I don't know, not the same game or doesn't feel right or things like that. And I think the vast majority of that comes from people playing the stupid, short, fucking, not in my domain, like for lack of a better term, adventure. I don't like using that term because it's not really a World of Darkness thing. Um, I don't even know what you would call it. It's not even like a mini Chronicle. But anyways, I think that is the biggest problem with everything we are seeing online now. Because people are playing that, grabbing that, and running it as is, and expecting it to showcase everything in, let's just say, the player's packet. There's 178 pages in the player's packet. That, for reference, let's see. In the V5 book, Tattered Facade, there are 174 pages, not counting the index. So in this whole book that was released for V5 to deal with horror and a horror game, there's 174 pages. The player's pack in for V6 is 178 pages. Now, number one, I don't remember players packs. Hey, Doc Fortune's live. Hey, go over and see Doc Fortune too, because his streams are better than mine. Mine are usually just about me bitching about things. Or playing Baldur's Gate. But what I'm getting at is, I don't recall. I don't recall other games. Maybe they have, because I'm pretty narrow. I played a ton and ran a ton of D&D. Played Daggerheart, Pathfinder, Exalted, things like that. And then, of course, World of Darkness. But I don't remember in World of Darkness, um, even, you know, I don't know. When I was younger, in my youth, during like second and third and revised editions and all that shit, the internet and PDFs and things like that just wasn't as big. I mean, you're talking like Drive-Thru RPG really had just come around by the time you get to some of this. So they weren't releasing this type of stuff. Is what I'm getting at. Um, they weren't releasing the rules before the game. They just released it. Okay, and you just one day it was here. This is like a soft opening at a casino. Like the real opening comes later, but this is like the soft opening. This is where people come in and play and give their opinions and all that stuff. The problem is two things. One, people don't seem to be realizing that it's an alpha test. There are going to be changes. Now, I know in previous streams, I have said that I doubt things like the humanity system and the vitae system and some of those will change between now and um, uh, release, whenever that is. Simply because when you see it on Demiplane, like they've already got that done. So I feel like those are going to be there. Because it takes a lot of work, I think, to go back and change that shit. But things like drama, which I'll get to, quickenings, devil's bargains, God willing, vibrating hands, all of these things can change and likely will in some way, shape, or form. In one way, shape, or form before the final release comes out. This is just an alpha test. Like when you play a video game in alpha or beta, they got this big, disclaimer. It's like, this is not a final product. This is just so you can get a taste of it. Tell us what you think, blah, blah, blah. Which is what White Wolf wants us to do with the alpha test. Now, all of that is great. I think most people are reading the player's packet and they're not reading the storyteller packet. So I've got the storyteller packet pulled up here for our viewing pleasure. And it talks about the basics of play, shit like this, that people like me who have been running Vampire for God on almost 30 years already know. Like there's nothing in this storyteller packet advice-wise that I'm going to like necessarily pick up and be wowed by because I've been doing it for so long. There are cool things in here though. Make them pay the cost. With freedom comes responsibility. Every action they take or abstain from should have consequences. With every choice, there is a gain and a loss, and you should remind them. Befriending mortals can lead to other vampires targeting those mortals. Allying themselves to a faction will mark them as enemies of another faction. I don't need drama points to make any of this shit happen. It just happens in the story. Now, does it happen not in my domain? Absolutely not. No. Period, paragraph. There are no long-reaching consequences for anything you do in a one-shot designed to grab people's attention at a con or at your local gaming shop for people who have never, ever picked up Vampire before. That's what it's for, okay? But what about those of us who have been running the game for 30 years? What about those of us who have only been running this game since 5th edition? And by the way, over the last 10 years or so, as long as 5th edition has been out, it has arguably been the most hated edition of Vampire that has ever come out. Just hands down, period. Unless you haven't played all the other editions much or ever. If you came in at 5th edition, you generally, I think, really like 5th edition. Now, I may be an outlier, and my friend 10 Demons may be an outlier, that we like the older editions as well, but we really like 5th edition. There's a lot in 5th edition I liked. I hated the combat, and I think I'm pretty much standing in the unanimous side of things when it comes to that, hating the combat. I liked the um, dynamic of the hunger dice with the messy crit and the bestial failures. That was cool, but that's not gone. That's why you have things like Devil's Bargain, Choose Your Pain, things like that, which I guess I'll get into again here in a little bit. Um, so so if you came in at V5, you probably really like V5. And then you only played V5 for, if you played it as much as we did, the span of the line. What, like I said, 8-10 years. Um, so whatever, that's fine. But you can't play a one shot of V5 or any edition and get the full picture of it on that one thing. You just can't do it. And the fact that there are people out there with much bigger followings than me. I think my biggest following has been when 10 Demons and I reviewed Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition. I think that had like 100 like listens to it when we were on the podcast. It may be on the YouTube channel. I think the next biggest one may have been the Ministry one. I don't know. I'd have to look. But what I'm getting at is to just say, based on a one shot designed not to show the whole system, but designed to show basic mechanics, essentially. And some disciplines and some clan stuff. Just really basic. And then to be like, well, rabble. This isn't good. This isn't the same. This isn't Vampire. It aggravates me. And these are people that I follow and people that I really like as far as their content. People that I think are amazing role players. And so I'm not disparaging anybody like personally. I'm saying quit running and basing your opinion of the alpha on a playtest scenario that doesn't take full advantage of the system. You are not in the 4-hour session of the playtest going to see your humanity move at all. Period. You can't do it. You might get yourself to one side or the other. Okay, let me amend that immediately. You might get one dot move left or right, but you're not going to see the full breadth of the humanity system in a 4-hour one shot. Just not. You're not going to see the deepness of the NPC system in this one shot because they're very generic, just like hunters. Look, I could show you my NPCs from the game that I'm running because I am running it. Not that one. Close that one. I am running my own Chronicle using the system as it is right now. So here's Victor Salazar. He's a level 4. He's a La Sombra. So level 4 means how difficult it is for him to do shit or to resist him or whatever. He's got a heavy pistol and a knife, but whatever. Those are just weapons. You don't have to have weapons at all. I could have just as easily written shadowy arms and fangs up there. It doesn't matter. But two things, because I played a fair amount of Hunter the Reckoning 5th edition and I read the Storyteller's packet, both before I ran the one shot and before I ran my Chronicle. I created NPCs, and they have abilities that are unique for each one for the most part. They have challenging things about them. They have ways of escaping. So Victor Salazar, Little Sombra, Shadow knows your fear. Victor's shadow stretches towards the target while he calmly names what they fear. The target makes a social test against difficulty 5. Because this is kind of his signature ability, or one of them, he's an extra level. If they fail, They get 4 willpower damage and suffer a -1 die on their next test made directly against Victor. So he uses his shadows to intimidate and frighten people, and he bashes them over the head with fears. I mean, that's a pretty somber thing to do. Grasp of Darkness, he commands Shadow to seize a character. Target makes physical test against difficulty 5. On a failure, they're restrained until they can escape against difficulty 4. Victor can only restrain one character at a time. So that means he can hold off one person with that Grasp of Darkness, but he can't grab everybody in the coterie. He can slip into shadows, and he can call for backup from his minions. Let's see. Oh, here's a Nosferatu. I know what you did. Switch casually reveals a compromising observation or secret. The target makes a social test against difficulty 5. Failure inflicts 4 willpower damage, and Switch establishes that he knows one useful fact about the target's recent activities. So this will likely come up in my next game because I'm running a Chronicle. I'm not running a one-shot that's not going to show off this system because I want my players to really dig what's going on. Now, if my players looked at me and said, this sucks, we don't want to play it anymore, then that would be the end of it. At least for me, I wouldn't run it anymore until maybe the full rule set came out. But so far, my players are having a great time, and I'm having a great time. I don't have any lack of excitement. I don't have any lack of drama or resources and stuff, because you start with the number of players at the table in drama. And you don't use drama to necessarily change the fucking weather. You don't use drama to, introduce just some meaningless thing. You use the drama point to engage in that push and pull with your players, and spice up the scenes. You use it to increase the power of your NPCs. You use it to bring about change in the scenes that you want to do, and not seem like you're just like railroading, picking on, or whatever, however you want to rationalize it. So Vincent's going to come up in my next game, because our Nosferatu player did some things that were very compromising. And Vincent has eyes and ears all over the city. He's going to find out about it, and then he's going to bring it up to her. And this is what's going to happen. And she's probably going to lose willpower damage. And he's probably going to say, I know what you did last summer, kind of thing. So my NPCs each have things that make them unique. Even my mortals. Even my effing mortals. Here is little Yasmin Brooks. You don't understand. Or no, that's Nathaniel. My bad. Let's get to... Here's a gangrel NPC I made, who areas around the lakefront and rail edges in South Shore. He's got Predator's Rush. Elijah suddenly closes the distance with animal speed and violence. The defending character makes a physical test against difficulty 4. Failure inflicts 3 vitae damage, and Elijah chooses whether to knock them down or drive them away from his position. So he's doing a very gangrel thing in this edition, at least, because they come with celerity. He's rushing forward and tearing them up. Territorial Hunt. He knows his way around his territory, and anyone trying to evade him has a hard time doing it. He's hard to get snuck up on, I guess. Because of animal warning. Once per scene, local animals alert him to approaching danger. I could either spend a drama on this if I want to, or I can just say it. This is what happens because this is Elijah and this is what he does. Because I don't need the drama to affect the story. But I think because it's not written in the rules right now that that's the case, then people think they have to have it. And you don't. It's just a fun mechanic. Now, if you don't have fun using it, don't fucking use it. Just enjoy the game in a Chronicle that you're making. Do not, I cannot stress this enough, do not play Not in My Domain. I would just skip it all. If I was a storyteller, which I am, if I was a storytelling this new edition, I wanted to try it with my players. More importantly, if I wanted to try it with new players and I wanted to showcase everything in the system that I could, I would come up with my own story that did that. that put the players in those situations that did it. And then I would run that. And I guarantee you, I would be willing to guarantee that if you stopped running the not in my domain stuff and just came up with your own Chronicle like you did for V5 or whatever edition you like to play, come up with your own Chronicle and your own NPCs and your own whatever and run it. Just run it and see if it doesn't feel different. Um, here are my mortal NPCs. Let's see a mortal NPC. For immortals, Father Donnelly. Donnelly calmly asks the question a character has been avoiding. The target makes a social test. Failure inflicts 2 willpower damage. The character must either end the conversation or reveal something emotionally honest. That's a very priestly thing to do. Anna Reynolds. So Anna and Arthur come from the Not My Domain story. I gave her panic response because if she's cornered, she starts freaking out. And she will try to shut down, flee. She'll call the cops. She'll do whatever she can to get out of there. This happened in my game last week. There was plenty of excitement, plenty of horror, plenty of dramatic events in the game. That I don't understand why people aren't seeing it. I don't know if people are just running the Not My Domain bullshit and thinking that's it, or if they are just reading the player's packet and not really understanding it or seeing it in use and then just being, whatever. I would be willing to bet most people didn't read the Storyteller's packet at all. Chronicle themes. Okay, these are like Chronicle tenants in V5. Okay, they didn't exist in any other edition. This is kind of a pullover from V5. Okay, if you do not know what that is, in V5 you had convictions, and then you had Chronicle tenants. Convictions were beliefs or actions or whatever that you held to that were generally tied to some mortal still alive that represented that conviction. And if you broke that conviction, you gained a stain. Now, to get rid of stains, you roll. If my humanity is 7 and I have 3 stains on my track of 10 humanity, and I have 7, 3 stains, 7, 8, 9, 10, then I can either, or let's go 8 let's go 2 stains. So I've got 1 die to roll. I'm rolling the 1 free space between the stains and my humanity. If that roll is a success, the stains go away and I don't lose humanity. If that roll is a failure, the stains go away and I lose a point of humanity. There is nothing mechanical really other than like maybe waking and I'd have to pull out my book and look. Waking like during the day when someone tries to mess you up, because I had that happen to me. I couldn't hardly do it because my humanity was so low. But I was playing almost a Sabat character, so my humanity was low. I think my humanity was like 3. Waking during the day, blush of life, and your interaction with mortals. Those types of things were affected by humanity in V5. They are in this too. There hasn't been a change. The only change has been how you move the humanity dot. Okay? And that is much more dynamic. There's much more to balancing between your beast and your nature, and the dots moving up and down and losing dots on one end and trying to regain those dots to become more bestial or too human, and you're trying to get back in touch with something else. There's much more dynamics in it now than there ever was in any other edition. And if you want to go back to, I don't care, V20, Revised, any of the other editions, they had almost nothing to do with humanity short of, here's humanity 7, this is my sin, and I can do anything above 7, whatever your sins are above 7. If I do anything 7 or below, then I have to roll humanity. I have to make a conscience roll. And then if it drops, then it drops. And then I can do everything from my new humanity level up without having to roll humanity. And they use that to show like it's getting easier for you to do more and more immoral acts. Immoral being subjective, which is also a thing with the humanity tracker now. You could be full on in your nature and your humanity be, up there in your mortal side and still be just a horrible, monstrous asshole, and vice versa. So humanity it seems like that's going to be the crux, and I hope they don't change it because it's really dynamic, it's really great. The painful failures. My players deciding to mark off their beast or mark off their nature for it. That's really great, man. That gives them, that's pushing their humanity around. And it's awesome. So anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent. Chronicle themes are like Chronicle tenets. So Chronicle tenets in V5 are the kind of the overarching moral, agreed upon morals of the Chronicle. And they had categories like the humanist or gothic or whatever. And they would be like taking human life, breaking an oath to a love, things like that. If you did that, then you'd gain a stain, possibly more than one. If you killed a mortal, you gained at least, I think, 2 stains, maybe 3. In V5, it's been a while since I played it, but you certainly gained at least 1. In this, if you kill a mortal, you gain 3 beasts. If you feed a mortal down to 0, you gain 3 marks on your beast tracker. So anyways, Chronicle tenets, Chronicle themes. This is chapter 1, page 10 of the storytelling packet. So you got love and loss. All vampires face loss sooner or later as they see their loved ones grow old and eventually die. So with this as your theme for your Chronicle, monstrous acts, a character that uses love or the illusion of it to manipulate or subjugate others must mark a box on the beast tracker. Mortal act, a character forced to distance itself from a loved one must mark a box on the nature tracker. And experience points. I want to talk about experience. At the end of the session, a character that put itself at risk to protect or help a loved one gains an additional XP. We'll get to XP in a minute. We haven't talked about Chronicle themes in my Chronicle yet, because last week we just focused on bringing in our new Gangrel player, and we focused on just more of the story stuff. But I think my Chronicle theme would either be intrigue and loyalty. So a character that betrays the trust of a friend or ally to obtain something must mark a box in the beast tracker. Character who forced to break a promise or betray a friend or ally must mark a box on the nature track. And experience points. Here's your basics of play. And advancement over time. It's if you're doing maturation basically. And XP. I'm not using experience points. I don't like experience points in any of the editions because they're just you're only getting a very small amount, and it takes a very long time to get to where you want to be with your character idea. Here's some difficulty with circumstances. So 2 to 3, average, okay. Actions that a trained individual would fail more often than succeed unless they have some help or seek situational advantage. 6 to 7 difficulty. Okay, here difficulty by opposition. So 2 to 3 for standard opposition, like standard NPCs, fledgling vampires, competent ghouls, mortals, whatever. Then you go all the way up to skilled and mythical. Then there's action-specific difficulties if you want to go that far, knowing that none of this is required. I didn't look at this not one time when I was running my 5-hour game last weekend. I knew what my general difficulty levels were, and I'd say that. They'd say, "What's the difficulty?" I'd say 3. I'd say 2. I'd say 4 sometimes. Just because I knew what I was after in challenging them. But they have so much in the Storyteller's packet that you can it's strictly adhered to. The rules for following and tracking targets could potentially lead to many boring repeated rolls. As always, make tests, especially repeated tests, only if necessary. Again, you don't have to roll the dice to do a hunting roll. And remember, if after you have accounted for the difficulty in your dice pool and you still have 4 dice or more, you can choose to just take a basic success. So you have to roll it all. Now you can, and if you get more successes, there'll be more in the margin there that might help you out. But if you've got the difficulty beat and you have 4 or 5 dice left over, just take a basic success and keep the game moving. That's fine. Or roll so that everybody can be excited when you painfully fail. Or when you get 10s and get quickenings. It just... Ooh. Anyways. Let's see here. Story assets. There's so much in here. Objects. Interacting with the world. Here we go. Now, this I have to be more clear about in my game because I'm very used to not necessarily announcing when a scene ends. But it's needed with some things I noticed in the other night. Especially with outbursts and frenzy. Like when the scene ends is important. So, all right, drama. You begin each session with 1 drama per player character. When our game started Saturday, I had 4, and then I immediately got another one from a painful failure. When players choose that option, choose a painful trigger, and from unique effects, player powers, other types of shit. Okay. It represents a building of tension. Okay, spending drama, creating a scene trait. These are suggestions. They are not saying that you have to use drama to make it fucking rain in your game. At all. Period. I'm so tired of hearing and seeing people writing that in reviews and in Facebook pages and shit. It drives me crazy. This is all, again, a lot of this is stuff that I do with and have done for 30 years to increase difficulties and give bonuses and penalties and all that shit. Okay? So, it just gives, all it is you're creating something that's going to make things harder or easier for the players. Hold up. Increase the stakes. I can spin a drama to increase the stakes of a scene or a test before it's rolled, creating an additional complication. Complication, typically a new challenge or disruption to the scene, increase the difficulty of a test by 1. If you're using it this way. Or cause the next failed test in the scene to deal 1 damage to the target's vitae or willpower. Since drama is mostly gained through player actions, drama spent to increase stakes is often related to actions the player took earlier in the scene. This was exactly how I used drama with my Nosferatu in Anna's dorm room. I used it to change the scene and spice it up. When she either failed something or when I wanted Anna to have a little bit more oomph or for something else to happen. That's when I said, I'm spending some drama. Wandering minions, bursting pipes. They're just giving you suggestions. These are not, I repeat, these are not hard and fast rules. NPC empowerment. Do I want my NPC to escape? I'll spend a drama point. Do I want to make them stronger? I'll spend a drama point. Do I want them to regain health or whatever? I'll spend a drama point. Whatever. Threatening the Masquerade. All of these things you could do without drama. So I think in the main book, they need to have a big thing near drama that says drama is optional. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Just like the golden rule of every World of Darkness game since 90 or 92, whenever. The golden rule. If you don't like a rule or something in the game, don't use it. Okay, do your own thing. It isn't D&D or Pathfinder, which don't generally have that mindset because of just the kind of game it is. But White Wolf and World of Darkness have always been that way. If you don't like something, don't use it. That doesn't mean the whole system in alpha is trash. I will tell you, 100% not in my domain, feels kind of trashy. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just, if you're using it, let me amend by saying if you're using it to introduce someone to the whole system that's in the alpha test, because it is not going to do that. It's going to teach how to roll. It's going to give you some modifiers, let you spend some drama, let you spend some quickening. It's not going to show off the humanity system. It's not going to show off the frenzy systems very much, if at all. It's not going to show off any type of real social politicking, Camarilla corporate stuff. It's just not. It's not what it's there for. Story triggers. Look, this story trigger. Oh, there it is. The story triggers are like outlines that you do for yourself. Okay? Look, I never, ever used relationship maps in V5. I just didn't. I hated the relationship map thing. And the rules kind of make it, like, oh, well, make sure you do your relationship maps. I didn't do it not one time. Not once. I have other people who played in V5 games with me make relationship maps because it was fun for them. So great. But I, as a storyteller, never did it. I'm much more likely to do something like a story trigger thing. And I did that for my game. Let's look and see. Boop, 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 because it's more of like an outline almost for me to be able to be like, okay, I think I'm going to make this, have this event happen. So I didn't get to any one of these, but these are just story triggers that I can work my way through if I'm feeling like the game is kind of dragging a little bit, or if I need a quick, like if I'm dragging and I'm just having a hard time kind of like coming up with something real quick, like on the spot, I'll use this. It's like, hey, there's a parked car repeatedly near kindred locations, and the players will hear about that. So these are really just kind of outlines and events that you can trigger, but again, you don't have to use them. Oh, what else we got in the storyteller? Okay, alternative advancement. I don't like the experience point in any World of Darkness thing for the most part. I don't like it. However, I do like improvements. And because nobody's talking about this that I've seen, I'm pretty sure nobody else has read it. And if they have, they must think it sucks and they're just not going to talk about it. So here's how improvements go. As the character is an alternate model for advancement for games. They don't want the complexity of tracking experience points and figuring out, well, I got to have this times this plus, all this, whatever. As with XP, it's more difficult to improve in fields you have mastered than where you're a novice, okay? So, gaining improvements. As characters experience significant events and have their mettle tested in the dangerous nights of the Chronicle, they earn improvements. These represent their growth in power, knowledge, and dominion over the powers in their blood. You gain one improvement at the end of every session. And then a longer session, or session in which a significant event can happen, can award an extra improvement. So that's 2. Each time a character gains an improvement, it gains certain benefits. A character also gains additional benefits every 3rd and 5th improvement. This represents how easy or difficult it is to improve aspects of your chosen that compose a character. So every improvement, every game, each time a character gains an improvement, it must choose one of the following. You could gain 1 dot in 2 different skills. So you use 1 improvement to gain 1 dot in 2 different skills that have 2 dots or fewer. Gain 1 dot in 1 skill that has 3 dots or more. Gain 1 merit or neonate clan trait. Now I know that there are only 2 or 3 neonate clan traits in each of the clans that are presented in the player's packet. I am sure, well, I'm not sure, I hope that they will have some more traits in the core book, because they're saying neonate through elder will be playable, so they'll probably have elder traits. Hopefully we'll have more neonate traits, but remember, if they do, then hopefully they'll split it between a storyteller book and a player's book. And then, oh man, they could release clan books again. So let's say they release the Gangrel clan book. Then they could put more traits in the Gangrel clan book. Clan books sold like hotcakes. Like, whenever I played Vampire, the older editions, if I was hip on a clan, like La Sombra or Setites, or my wife, when she played Mage, she bought the Hollow One tradition book, because it just gives you a deeper understanding of what you really like. So they could definitely come out with that again. I know some people did some homebrew ones for V5, and that's cool. But I never grabbed any of those because I had the clan books from my other stuff, so I didn't need it. But this is different, and I really like it, so I'll probably support it if they do. Every improvement, you learn 1 discipline power from a discipline you know. So if I've got 3 dots in Obtenebration or Oblivion, and I'm a La Sombra, I can learn the 4th dot with an improvement because I already know it. I already know that power or that discipline. Now, every 3 improvements, character gains 1 of the following in addition to the benefits of the standard improvement. Gain 1 attribute that has 2 dots or fewer. Gain 1 dot in a clan discipline. Also learn 1 discipline power of that dot rank or lower in that discipline. Gain 1 ancillary or elder clan trait, if you qualify. Now, for every 5th improvement, a character gains 1 of the following in addition to the benefits of the standard improvement and the benefits of the 3rd improvement, if the 5th and 3rd coincide. Gain 1 dot in an attribute that has 3 or more. Gain 1 dot in a non-clan discipline. Also learn 1 power. Gain 1 life path, but don't gain the resource dots with it. Diablerie improvements. Dogs are barking. Diablerie works the same in this form of advancement as with XP. The effects you gain are the same except for those that interact with XP. Replace those 2 effects with the following. Instead of gaining XP equal to 10 times the victim's generation modifier, you gain 1 improvement times the victim's generation modifier. Okay, so 1, if their generation modifier is 4, I gain 5 improvements. Choose 1 of the victim's disciplines. That discipline counts as a clan discipline for spending improvements. They clearly want you to test this shit because they put Diablerie in the player's packet. They want you to put this through the paces, but you're not going to be able to do it not in my domain. You're just not going to be able to do it. Okay? I could run that thing at 3 or 4 different cons back to back, and it's probably going to end up pretty much the same. Okay? You're not going to, unless I, as the storyteller, go above and beyond rules as written. Because it's just, you can't expect to see all of this in the little one shot, man. You're certainly not going to see improvements or even experience points because you're not playing again. You have to, if you want to experience the alpha test to the utmost and really get into it, I highly suggest, 1, come up with your own Chronicle for it. Even if it's just like, 2 games worth of a Chronicle, 3 games worth of a Chronicle. Fucking um, Gentleman Gamer ran a 1 or 2 game Chronicle, quote unquote, of Dark Ages Vampire with Lore by Night and others, and it was great. And it had a beginning, had an end. They played. It was great. You got to experience a bunch of stuff. It was a good little Chronicle. Do that with this. Grab the Storyteller stuff, read it, um, try it, and then come up with your Chronicle. Come up with maybe 8 to 10 hours worth of game. You're gonna have to like really narrow yourself down. You're not gonna. You want to give them room to experience everything, but you also need to kind of keep it not on the rails. Whew. Excuse me, I got up at like 4. Not on rails necessarily, but be willing to give them access to experiencing more than just what that stupid not in my domain shit did. Don't use XP. Give them some improvements at the end of the first game. Hell, in my Chronicle that I'm running, I started my players out with 2 improvements just to give them a little oomph, a little bit more. So do that. Give them improvements at the end, or even a couple at the beginning, just so they can see how the system works. And run your Chronicle. Give them the players packet. Give them the quick reference guide that came out. I think I've got it. It might be in my drive. Anyways. Oh, he's playing. Doc Fortune's busting out the Team Fortress 2. Special movement options is climbing, things like that. Falling, jumping, climbing, putting on makeup while you're up there in trees, that type of thing. NPCs. Again, how many people who are bitching about things have bothered to read this or try it? Look at all the special abilities. I came up with most of mine, but there are plenty of special abilities in here. If you've played Hunter 5th edition, which for me is probably the best book out of the 5th edition line. It's the best organized, laid out, clear. It's good. The only weakness in Hunter is like touchstones really aren't that big a deal. I mean, I think you can regain willpower, or you can regain. I think it's just regaining willpower now that I think about it. Big yawn. Anyways, this clearly they yanked this from Hunter, and it's great. So I highly encourage you to check this out. NPCs of balance, using discipline powers as NPCs, creating new special abilities. There you go, which is what I did. And that's it. The Storyteller packet is 46 pages, and I just went through it. I don't even know how long I've been doing this stream, but 46 pages, the Storyteller packet. The Player's packet is 178 pages. And the piddly little not in my domain, I think it's 18 pages. Okay? Like, it's nothing. So, you can't expect that little adventure thing to cover 178 pages plus Storyteller advice and shit in 18 pages and get a good view of what the game is about. It just doesn't work that way, and it aggravates me. When people just, I don't know. It's just frustrating. And they've already got on their timeline. They've got Dark Ages coming and Mage coming. Mage the Ascension. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see playtest stuff for Mage in the next year or so, or playtest stuff for the next for Dark Ages in the next year or so. They're good. They're moving pretty quick, but they're still doing an alpha test. And please remember, it's an alpha test. A lot of this stuff is going to change. So, um, yes, White Wolf wants to hear what you have to say. They want you to give them criticism, constructive criticism, and you should. You should tell them what you like and don't like, but you shouldn't do that based on one shitty 18-page adventure, because that's not a clear picture of it. Put a chronicle together for yourself. If you don't know how to do that, maybe I'll do a how to build a chronicle stream. It won't be this week because I don't have the time. This is just a get on here and bitch stream. Um, maybe Saturday morning or Sunday I'll get up and do a how to build a V6 chronicle. Um, but do not give constructive quote unquote feedback based on just the not in my domain stuff, because that isn't fair. Um, make your own chronicle. Be a storyteller. Make your own chronicle using the player's packet and the storyteller's packet. Use the drama. Don't use the drama. Use the drama however you want. Um, quickening. I love the quickening system. My players get excited every time they roll 10s. They got excited when they rolled 10s in VE5, but they had to roll 2 of them for it to mean anything. Every time they roll a 10, they get excited to get quickening, which they then spend to help with difficulties and to help with rolls and whatever. I mean, I've already done streams about like Vitae and health and how I like that because I think it makes the players more careful about what they're doing. You're not just not out there just throwing disciplines around and getting into shit because they can't, because they're burning up their health, which means they have to hunt, which means they risk. Guess what? If they hunt, they risk the beast. They risk killing someone and ending up with 3 marks on their beast tracker, or they risk outburst by trying to play too much into their nature in order to get close to somebody. I mean, there's so much to this. But there isn't hardly any of that not in my domain. So, you know what? Throw away the fucking Gen Con game of it. The 18 pages aren't worth even downloading. If you want to know what this is all about, come up with a chronicle, 8 to 10 hours worth of game, and put in it the opportunities and the things that you would in any other Vampire Chronicle that the players are going to play. Let them make their own characters. For the love of God, do not use the pre-gen characters. Make your own characters. Go through character creation together. Hell, have a session 0 and go through character creation together. I use Demiplane for my character creation, but you can print character sheets off of there as well. You can get character sheets at Mr. Gone. If you're using Demiplane, I use it on my tablet and my computer. I don't use it very much on my phone because it's wonky on the phone. You got to turn your phone and stuff. And if you're not comfortable with Demiplane, it's harder, I think, to use on your phone. But it works great on my tablet and works great on my PC. So, whew, man, I feel like I just ranted for what fucking time is it? It's 6:06. Yeah, I've been ranting for almost an hour. All right, well, just give it a fair shake, people. Don't just, compare it to other systems and other things, and just take it for what it is as an alpha test. Try to divorce yourself. I don't like, when I played it, I wasn't like, well, man, I really liked how in second edition this was this way, and I don't like this because it's not second edition. Fuck, I hate that kind of stuff. I appreciate the people who have reviewed it and who have at least tried to play it. The next step is to play it without using not my domain as your basis for it. Come up with your own chronicle, 8 to 10 hours of game. Run it on 2 weekends. And I'd be willing to bet, like those in my play group, you will love it, and your players love it, and everyone will have a grand old time. Now, apart from all that, I hope all of you have a wonderful night. I'm going to go grab a bite to eat and maybe grab a shower and curl up in my bed and watch who knows what. Probably some cheesy, campy vampire movie that I've already seen a million times. All right, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much. And please like and share and share it with people at World of Darkness. Share it with people on Facebook. Share it with people on YouTube. Just share a lot. Share and share alike. Just throw it all over the place. All right. Thanks a lot, folks. Bye.